Sit by my fire in these the darkest hours of the night, and do not be afraid, for this is no ordinary fire. No, for the light of this fire is wisdom, and lights the mind of man, and drives away the darkness of night and ignorance, so that we need not be afraid. The warmth of this fire is love that warms us against the cold winds of winter, loneliness and hate, so that the heart of men will not sicken and die. And here in this place, we are not alone. Oh, there is darkness beyond the fire, but the darkness is filled, for there are the spirits of the old people that lived on this land, and they would not go away. For in every place they found great beauty and happiness, and they dwell here yet still, quietly, in this place, in the echoes of the night. Science has much to say about the beginning of all things, how the universe came to be, what the stars are made of, and the fate of all living things. My people in this vast land also had their explanations, their conventions, which worked for their way of life, that spoke to the heart, that taught us how we are part of all that we see. These are stories of the spirit, and they still speak with great power today. In the beginning, there was nothing, only terrible darkness and awesome silence. For age upon age, there was nothing. Only was there Maheo. And Maheo was all things, and all things that could ever be. He was the universe, and beside him there was darkness, terrible darkness, and silence. And if Maheo was silent, then the universe was silent. If Maheo was still, then the universe was still, and nothing could move. If Maheo listened, there was nothing to hear, and when he looked, there was nothing at all to see. All around Maheo was nothingness and silence for age upon terrible age. But Maheo was everything, and great and powerful was he. His being was all things in the universe, and he sensed this awesome darkness and this terrible silence beside him, and in this he moved, and he felt a stirring inside his being. This stirring was loneliness, and Maheo thought to himself, saying, I have power. Great power I have indeed, but power is nothing until it is used. Power is nothing of itself, and I shall use my great power to fill this universe with sights and sounds, so that I will not be And so, Maheo reached out with his left hand across all of space, and in his left hand he gathered all space, both great and small, for the universe is infinitely small as it is large too. And this he gathered into his left hand. And then with his right hand, Maheo reached out across all of time and gathered in all time past, all time yet still to come, and the ever-present now. With these in his hands, he then did bring his hands together in a mighty clap, greater than thunder. This clap was the first sound ever heard in the universe, and a fire there was in his hands. And then came all things and everything. Stars came flying out of his hands like sparks from cracking wood in a fire. Everywhere these sparks filled the universe, and all that could ever be there was, and all things that would ever be made. And these sparks, the lights in the sky, are stars. The Hopi tell us Teawa, the sun god, moved endlessly through the universe. When his work of creation was ready to begin, his nephew, Sotuknang, he called across the heavens and said, "Now we shall make the world, and it shall be filled with life. You shall make the earth to be the mother of all creation. I, the sun, will shine upon the earth and take away the darkness. I will be the light and the father of all creation." Then Teawa gave direction to Sotuknang, directions by which to make the world. So it was that the world was made by Sotuknang, and out of the Tokpila, that is, endless space, he gathered everything into solid substance. Some he made earth, some water. These, the earth and water, he divided into places from which life could spring, the mountains and the valleys, and the waters were all where they should be. Then Sotuknang went to Teawa and said, "I want you to see what I have done, and I have done well." And Teawa looked and said, "It is very good, but you are not done with it. Now you must create life of all kinds and set it in motion according to my plan." Now Sotuknang knew the universal plan, and went into the endless space and gathered substance to create his helper, the Spider-Woman. "Look all about you, Spider-Woman," said Sotuknang. "Here now is endless space, but in the world there is no joyful movement. The world needs life. The Tokpila, endless space, needs men and women to live on the world and to contemplate the endless beauty of creation. You should make all life so that at the end of your work, mankind shall be prepared for Teawa's coming." Spider-Woman wasted no time. She began right away with her work, taking substance from the earth. She began by making grass and bushes and trees, the bearers of seeds and nuts and fruits. She made these to clothe the earth. Likewise, she made four-legged creatures, creatures with wings, creatures with furs, and set them before herself. To the right and to the left hand she set them and said, Now go to the four corners of the world. Go out in the four directions and fill this world with a joyful beauty and a great movement of life. And so it was done, that the world was prepared with life. Tewa looked now at the earth, all filled with life, and said, "It is good, and now it is time to complete the plan." Now in the darkness, Sotuknang stood in the sky as the pattern by which Spider-Woman would create man. In that darkness before the dawn of creation, Spider-Woman gathered clay of each of the four colors, red, white, black, and yellow, and began molding from each clay a man and a woman in the shape of Sotuknang. While she worked, Spider-Woman sang the creation song. These 4 men and 4 women she made, and covered them with her white cape, the 4 races of mankind. At the time of the dark purple light of dawn, that first morning of creation, Spider-Woman lifted her cape, and the bodies of the human people were solidified. At the time of the yellow light of dawn, the human people awakened, but there was still dampness in the clay in the top of their heads, and a soft spot there. It was through that the breath of life entered man in the second phase of his creation, the yellow light of the creation dawn. Soon the sun appeared above the horizon, curing the final dampness of the bodies and warming the human people with love and knowledge. The people arose, a man and a woman of each of the 4 sacred colors, red, white, black, and yellow. Finished and solid they stood, and proudly they faced the sun. "That is your creator," said Spider-Woman. "The sun is your father, and the creator of all things. You shall know to love him. You stand upon the earth, who is your mother, and the sustainer of all life, and you shall know to love her." And so it was finished that way.